Maximum Ride, which was written by... Oh no, it's been so long. Oh no, I see this author in stores everywhere. What's his name? What's his name? Oh no. I don't remember. Oh no, I feel so bad. Oh no. Hello everyone, and Happy New Year. My name is Aloubell, and I recently reached 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube. I prayed to God a few months ago that I would be able to reach 1,000 subs before Christmas, and He delivered. I am so grateful and happy to Him and all of you who decided to give me a chance. You all are super awesome, and it's been great getting to chat with you guys. You've been super sweet and supportive, and I just love the energy. I pray 2022 brings in many blessings for all of us. To commemorate 1,000 subscribers, I reached out to you guys to leave questions for me in a community post for me to answer in a Q&A video. And now we're here to do just that. So sit back, relax, and let's get to answering some questions. So the answering questions bit is going to be pretty much off script, so please excuse any and all awkward silences, likes, or uhs. And I will try to answer these questions in the order that they came to me. I'm also super grateful that more than 20 of you guys were actually interested in asking me stuff, so thank you. All right, our first question comes from CB. Do you think you can review videos on cartoons and anime like Naruto, My Hero Academia, Dragon Ball Z, GT and Super, Owl House, Amphibia, and Dr. Stone? CB, you're not the only person to ask me questions similarly to that if I'm going to review other cartoons, anime, whatever, because I see up there that Simba Cartoon Fan also asked me to do other franchises as well, like Uzaki-chan, Personas, all that stuff. So I'm going to make this answer as easy and inoffensive as possible. I do plan on doing more franchises because, like I said at the beginning of my channel, that this is not a miraculous Ladybug channel, despite me having a playlist that's exclusively for Ladybug stuff. That's just a weird circumstance of circumstances. Sorry, I just said the same sentence twice. That was unintentional. Because like I say in my videos, I don't even watch Miraculous Ladybug. I just know a lot about it, and I have a lot of opinions about it. And that kind of just snowballed. But yes, I do plan on doing more than just Ladybug because I have opinions on other things too. But at the same time, there are shows that I refuse to watch. I don't currently feel like telling you guys in this Q&A video which shows I refuse to watch. I'm going to say that some of those shows I refuse to watch are some of the ones that have been requested of me. So I'm just gonna say that I would actually prefer if you guys didn't request for me to review things from certain shows or like any shows, because the way that my channel's going, I make videos based off things that I feel like talking about in that moment, which may consist of me talking about shows that I saw when I was just a little kid or things that I have opinions about now. I kind of just jump all over the place depending on what my mood is. And I also wrote notes down a while ago on things I want to talk about, so it's a whole thing. But I also don't want to feel the pressure of I have to talk about this or talk about that. I just talk about whatever. Sometimes that kind of bites me in the butt because I don't talk about things that are topical sometimes. Unfortunately, Ladybug is topical, but I realize some of the other things I talk about aren't, which, you know, is what it is, but I can't force these things. If I have an idea that I want to talk about, then I'll talk about it. Otherwise, I won't. So, for everyone out there listening to this, please don't request for me to talk about X show, whichever show. I'll talk about what I want to talk about. I know some of you also have like super specific questions like, will you talk about more Miraculous Ladybug but this particular topic? And I have responded to those like in a yay or nay or I don't know. And I guess it's okay if you guys request things within a show / fandom that I already talk about, then I don't mind as much. But if you haven't seen me talk about or bring up a certain fandom, then I'd rather you not request it. It's more like a wait and see what I do kind of thing, and if you see that I'm into something, then you can like ask for something more specific in that specific fandom. Otherwise, I'm just kind of jump all over the place, guys. That's what I'm gonna do. So yes, I will review other cartoons, video games, and stuff as I see fit is the short answer to that question. Sorry, that went on a lot longer than I intended it to. All right, next question comes from Akira the Kitsune. Can you why Ladybug for Miraculous isn't planet level? See, that's a specific Ladybug question because you guys already know that I review Ladybug, so that's a fair question. But my answer to that is I can't answer that because since I don't watch Miraculous Ladybug, I don't know the parameters of everyone's powers. I have a general idea of the crazy things that go on in that show based off the spoilers that I've seen, but I'm not the person who can argue whether or not anyone in that show is planet level. Considering that Cat Noir and Plague can destroy a giant pastry in space, he's clearly planet level. So it makes sense to me that Ladybug probably is too, but you know, there's better fans to discuss that than me, so I'm probably not going to do that video. Sorry. All right, so the next questions come from Spirit Art Writer. Number 1, what inspired you to do art? So I've been drawing since I was like 5 years old, and somewhere in my house I have evidence of that because I like to keep my art that I do, so you can see like little scribbles of the things I've done. So I've done art all my life. And watching anime like Sailor Moon and Pokemon, which were out when I was very, very, very small, like the first season of Pokemon in the 90s and the 90s Sailor Moon, all of that, that's what got me into anime was Sailor Moon and Pokemon. So I just always had a love for art, so I can't really say what inspired me. I just always loved it. The more anime I watched and manga that I read, I just wanted to do more. Number 2, how did you get your idea for your mascot design? Well, at the base of it is me, because that is supposed to be me, like a fantasy version of me, I guess. But the robe is the cloak is based off of a cloak that my older brother got for me for Christmas a few Christmases ago, and it is a gray cat cloak, which looks similar, sort of, but not really, to the one that I draw on my avatar, with some differences. The accent colors are different. In the cat cloak that I have, the accent colors are purple and green, but in my avatar, the accent colors are pink and blue and white. So, and plus the cloak I have isn't tattered at the bottom, whereas my avatar's is. That's just more of an aesthetic thing. I thought it looked cool, so I went with it. The buttons on my cloak are brown, the one on my avatar are black. So, but yeah, that's where that came from. And she has a tail because it's cute. And and the cloak I have has a tail too, but like not as long and luxurious. The tail on mine is sewed onto the back, but it seemed cute for the tail to protrude in this one. So yeah, and there's a star in her hair because stars are my favorite shape and I like to incorporate them where I can. So there you go. Number 3, what is your favorite anime? My favorite anime is Fushigi Yugi, The Mysterious Play. It's an anime that came out in the 90s. I didn't watch it until the 2000s, but it's really old, and it's very flawed, very flawed. Like, there are things that need to be fixed in the writing of Fushigi Yugi, but it has inspired my creativity more than I think almost any other story, so I have to give it up to Fushigi Yugi. Number 4, what do you like about holidays the most? What I like the most about Christmas and other holidays is getting to spend time with my family. My oldest brother lives out of state, and the family that I live with now, my older brother, my mom, my dad, We usually do things like separately. We don't do things together a lot, so holidays are usually a good excuse for us to come together and do things as a family, like play games or just chat and eat together, things like that. That's what I like most about the holidays. And plus with Christmas, we get to celebrate God sending his son Jesus to as a baby, and that is just one of that and Easter are the most important holidays. So in my opinion, we should be celebrating those all year. But anyway, yeah, those are what I like the most. Number 5, how do you imagine future of your channel? Well, in an ideal world, I'd have 1 million or more subscribers. That is how I like to imagine the future of my channel. But also, I'd like to be able to make YouTube my full career, because currently it's not, but I'd really, really like it to be. So that is what I want the future of my channel to be. But I also want to start a different channel while also managing this one. My other channel being the actual goal I have here, but I think a question someone asked later ties into what I'm about to say here, so I'm gonna put a pin in that. So yeah, the ultimate goal is to become monetized and to have this be my full-time job. That's what I want. That's what I want. A creative career where I can do creative things and things that I love to do, talk about fun stuff, get to draw and write stories and all that stuff, and get paid for it, which would be great. Because who doesn't want a job doing what they love, right? And those are from Spirit Art Writer. Thank you for asking those questions. The next question comes from Emmer of Terra. Why are you not watching Ladybug? Like, you don't have time or something? I understand of not watching the old episodes. You already know everything about them from spoilers, but why not watch the news and the ones that are coming? Well, the answer to that is I don't want to. I do not want to watch Miraculous Ladybug. I do not care for the animation. The love square thing is stupidly frustrating. The writing seems to be also stupidly frustrating, so I don't feel like putting myself through that type of pain when I could be watching other things that are better. So, that's the long and short of it. There's some other complaints I have, but I just don't want to. The English voices also bother me. I usually watch the dub for like everything that I can watch a dub of, but I can't with this one. Sure, you could Aloe, why don't you just watch the French dub then? I just don't want to watch the show, period. So that's why. I'm not watching it because I don't want to watch it. That's the long and short of it. And I've already answered Simba Cartoons fan. Can I do other franchises? Yes. Will I do those franchises you mentioned? I don't know. Guess we'll see. Next question comes from Keziah Santique. Hello, Aloubell. I'm a new subscriber and I really enjoy your content. Thank you. I appreciate you. Here are my questions. Have you written any fan fictions or stories before? If so, what is it about and where does it draw inspiration from? And here is the question that I was alluding to before. So, yes, I have written a fan fiction before. And, okay, story time. So when I was around 12 or 13 or so, that's when I first watched Fushigi Yugi. And that kind of set my brain into overdrive, and I started to write a story around it. It was this big, complicated crossover story. Think Kingdom Hearts, but like for anime. And Fushigi Yugi was the base of it all. So I'm not gonna make the story too long, but I have been developing that story for the past 15 or so years. I am not exaggerating. I've been writing this one consistent fan fiction for like 15 or so years, give or take some years. I don't feel like doing the math right now, but it's been that long. I started in middle school and I am out of college. I am out of graduate school, by the way. So that story is honestly my passion. That is ultimately what I want to be monetized for. I know some people are going to snicker at that because it is kind of silly to want to be monetized for a fan fiction, but it's a story that I've been developing for so many years, and it's because of this story that I have like gone out of my way to learn more about writing and how good stories are supposed to be written. And there's like so many different drafts of this story. The first one was absolute garbage, and I cringe at what I wrote. But then like there was a second version of the story which was less bad, as I actually planned some more stuff out, but it was still pretty bad. And right now I'm on like the third version of the story, which is the official one, but I'm like on story 3.2 or something like that, because yeah, there's been so many rewrites, so many different ways of me telling the story. I've tried like writing it out as a novel. I've tried writing it out as like a play. I've tried making a comic of it. I've tried doing like a visual novel type of thing. And I've just gone through a lot of things. But right now I'm back to writing it as a narrative, which I think is ultimately the best thing for this story. So yes, I have written a fan fiction and am still in the process of it. And if all goes well, I'll be able to make a separate channel for it and maybe hire someone to narrate the story and get it going from there. That's what I really want to do. So it's a crossover between Fushigi Yugi, Inuyasha, Fruits Basket, Ouran High School Host Club, DN Angel, with some sprinkles of some other things here and there. So I know that kind of sounds like it could be cringy, but I feel like after so many years of working on it that I made it work. I came up with my own lore, and this lore was like, again, several years in development. So it's something I really want to do. It is the project I have worked on more consistently, and it has grown with me. So I am very much invested in it, and I really, 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 really want that to be my career, to be able to share this story that I've worked for half of my life on, basically. So, and even if you guys haven't heard of some of the anime and stories that I am writing in this fan fiction, it is still my hope that people will give it a chance, because that's a lot of years of my life. Not that I regret any of it. It was fun, and I've learned a lot writing it. I just don't want to see it come crashing down is all, and because I've put so much time into it. So, sorry, I didn't mean to start getting all emotional like that. But yeah. I think I'm gonna have like a separate video or something discussing what it's about, but it draws inspiration from a lot of things, so I think this is its own separate thing to talk about. But you guys will hear more about it later when I'm more ready to make it official. So, but it does exist. I'm not gonna tell you where it exists or what fashion at the moment, because it's still not super ready for me to show like the absolute public, even though it is in public. It's weird, but you'll see. Anyway, thanks for the question. Next question comes from Minty Sketch. What inspired you to start drawing? Like, what was the thing that made you want to try art? And I answered that question below. I've been drawing all my life since I was 5. Probably earlier than that, because I know a lot of kids like to scribble and stuff, but I started getting more serious about art around high school or so. Like, I've been drawing before that, but digital art caught my eye somewhere in high school, and I tried that, and things just kind of went off from there. But I've been into it my whole life. I've always liked drawing. I believe that drawing and art and creative stuff in general is what I'm meant to do. Next question comes from Momoisha. Is your name really Aloubell? So my name is Aloubell to the same extent that Kirito from Sword Art Online is his actual name. So if you can figure out, or if you remember how Kirito came up with his name, then you have a general idea of how I came up with my name. So Aloubell is technically my name, and it's technically not. So make with that as you will. Next question comes from Shaka Slate. If you wouldn't mind, excuse me. If you wouldn't mind just the vague story of your testimony and how you came to know Jesus. It's always interesting to hear other stories and the such. Keep up the good work and Merry Late Christmas. Merry Late Christmas to you too. And again, I'm putting in, I wish I could put in a law that says Christmas is like every day, but anyway. So, I actually grew up in a Christian house. My parents were Christian already by the time I, was born. My mom came from a Christian family. Her dad was a pastor, and some of her brothers are also pastors. So I grew up in a Christian environment. So I was always aware of Jesus and the Bible and all that stuff. And I went to church and stuff. I sang. I was in the kids' Sunday school and all that stuff, and that was fun, but I didn't super take it seriously until I was around 13 or so, which is when I watched, I don't think it was Passion of the Christ, I think it was something very similar, but when I saw like what Jesus was, or when I saw a representation of what Jesus went through because of his love for us, going through all of that ridiculous amount of pain and doing it willingly because he loves us and because he loves me and you and everyone, that I've never felt that kind of love before. And that kind of put things into perspective for me. And I started taking it really seriously at that point. So I asked Jesus to be part of my life, to be my Lord and Savior, that I believed in him and the death, burial, and resurrection and all that. So that's when I truly became a Christian. It was around that time. I want to say it was around 13. I remember where I was. I remember like what my environment looked like. I want to say 13. It could be earlier than that, because I remember I was laying in a bunk bed on the bottom bunk because my brother got his own bed and his own room at that point, so I had a bunk bed to myself. It was nighttime. I was watching my TV and I was watching that program, and I started crying once I saw Jesus hanging up on that cross and going through all that pain, and that's when I decided to give my life to Jesus. So that's when I truly became a Christian, and after that I kind of just went through the motions of life and stuff. And in high school I went through some traumatic experiences, like emotionally traumatic, that left me feeling really, really alone and in a really dark place. And God really got me through that, knowing that Jesus was here as my best friend really, really helped me at that time. So I was definitely 1000% full in at that point, knowing that I have someone who's looking out for me like that and who has been my hope ever since. So that is my testimony. I know I've been through a lot of stuff, and I have accomplished things that I know I wouldn't have been able to do without God. So that's also why I believe, because no matter what anyone says, I know my limitations, I know what I can and can't do, but I know that it was God who did those things for me. So all those things solidify that God is real, and that he's in my life and he loves me, and that I have Jesus beside me always. So that is my testimony. I hope all that made sense. All right, next question comes from Kitty Peanut. What made you decide to do videos for YouTube? I wrote a book in late 2018, and I published it. So it's published, it's out in the ether now. You can purchase it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, wherever books are sold, but like online, not physically. It's not physically in stores, unfortunately, but I'm gonna shill myself here a little bit. It's called Clio's Colorful Quest. It is a children's book, a children's picture book. It's about 60 or so pages, and has a poem in it. It's about a girl named Clio who is looking for something super special, and she leaps and dances and goes throughout a colorful world trying to find this thing. So I wrote that book, I published it, I self-published it, and self-publishing is mega expensive. So I kind of just threw caution to the wind and spent a whole bunch of money publishing this book. And as much as the people who come across it like it, I didn't have the money to market it. So not enough people have bought the book. So I haven't made back what I spent, so I can't even justify making any more books or any projects like that, because I found out a little too late that you need an audience in order to make these books profitable. So because of that, I decided to start my Instagram, thinking that if I build my audience, then more people are going to, buy my book in future books. So I was on Instagram for a little while, and I was growing a lot better than I was on DeviantArt, but at some point I kind of plateaued on Instagram, and I started to realize how Instagram's algorithm works and how it totally does not work for me. So I needed another way to get an audience. So I molded over and I thought about YouTube. So that is the base of it. I started YouTube because I need to build an audience for my other creative things that I want to do, like, again, that story that I told you about earlier, that fan fiction, as well as my book and any other future endeavors. So that's why I decided to do YouTube, to build an audience. But there was a second reason too that I kind of realized along the way of me starting YouTube, is that I don't have anyone in my life to really talk about my interests with. My family around me, I love them all, but we do not share the same media interests. Like, there are some movies and stuff that my dad and I both like, and shows and stuff that my brother and I like, but I'm not the type of family to sit and discuss too much about too many things. I mean, okay, wait. No, let me fix that. We talk about things that we do mutually have in common, which is cool, but I have a lot of things that I don't have in common talking about with my brothers or my dad or my mom. So that's frustrating. Like, when I started watching My Little Pony back in 2011, I really, really, really loved the show, and I had a lot to say about it, but no one in my family wanted to talk to me about it or even want to watch it with me, and I didn't exactly have friends who would watch stuff with me. So, YouTube is a way for me to discuss the things that I want to talk about shows and stuff that I can't do in real life. So it's been nice getting into conversations with people about these things, and it makes me feel a lot less alone. So it's both to build an audience and to have a community to talk to. That's why. Next up is Alex and Positivity. I have 3 questions. 1, do you watch the Pokemon anime? I did. I used to watch it. I watched it up through the Black and White sagas. I started watching the Black and White sagas, but Cylon and Iris got on my last nerve. So I jumped off the Pokemon anime bandwagon at that point. I just could not stand them. Sure, I could have come back when those 2 were gone and we had a new group for Ash to hang out with, but at that point I just stopped caring. So the answer is I used to, I just don't anymore. Number 2, if you could have one miraculous in life, which miraculous would it be? Which miraculous would I want? That is tricky. Some of them aren't useful in the least. Some of them are. I would say the Fox Miraculous is pretty cool. I really like that one. I also think the Horse Miraculous is useful too. Like, if I really gotta get somewhere, then I can use that. So it's between the fox and the horse. I don't want to touch time travel because I don't want to mess anything up. So that one's like the most OP one, but I don't want to be the one to screw up the timeline. So I'm gonna go with either horse or fox. Number 3, what's the story behind Cyrus the Great and yours collab? I really, really enjoyed it and like the video, by the way. It's one of mine, if not the best collabs I've seen in my life. Aw, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So it's not an extensive story. It's not this big magical thing. I just contacted Cyrus one day and said, hey, do you want to do a collab to talk about Miraculous Ladybug? And he was like, yeah, let's do it. And at first my intention was just to talk about Ephemeral with him, but he had already started his script for like everything for the second half of season 4. So I was like, okay, let's do both. I can work with that. We could talk about both of them. And initially I was only going to talk about Ephemeral, but then I realized I had opinions about the other episodes too. So that contributed to the video being like over 2 hours long. So yeah, that's why I reached out to him. He said yeah, and that's when it started. Let's see. Something fell behind me. Oh, hopefully it wasn't anything important. Anyway, next question comes from Pranjal Sarkar. Hi, please make a video about what you think could happen in season 4 finale of Miraculous Ladybug or any upcoming episodes. You can share your amazing stories / fanfic. Thank you again so much. I'm glad you like my miraculous opinions. But currently, I don't have anything to say about the season 4 finale. I really don't have much opinions. I'm kind of waiting to see what it's going to be, what's going to happen. And depending on if I care enough, I'll make a video about it. It has to strike me in a certain way and I have to be inspired. I really can't force it. So it either has to do something really stupid or really underwhelming for me to make a video about it. And my rewrites only happen if I'm inspired. I can't force those either, or they're going to sound really bad. So I'll make a season 4 finale video if I'm inspired to do so. And the next person, Branda Marshmallow. Happy 1K. What's your favorite part in the process of making a video? Okay, so this is going to sound... it's not going to sound bad, but my favorite part of the process of making a video is when it's done. Okay, I know that sounds like, oh, she must hate making videos. No, it's not the case. It's satisfying seeing everything come together. Because when you're in the process of it, it goes like super slow and it's hard to see any progress that you're really making. But when you're done, when you press export and you see everything that it is now, like all the music and the video feed and all the stuff, all the things you did is now as one complete project. That is my favorite part. It just is. Everything else is, admittedly, I don't want to say annoying, but I think I would enjoy it more if I didn't have like a separate job. If I didn't have a separate, like my actual job that I have right now, if I could spend more of my time doing the video, then I probably have a separate process that I like more. But as it is, right now, making videos is like a second job that I do not get paid for, so I'm already exhausted from my first job, and then I come do this one. So at the moment, my favorite part is seeing the finished product. It is super satisfying, and I really, really enjoy that. So anyway, next person, Nightmare Kana. Do you have any tips to gain subscribers quickly? I'm still at 500. Well, first, congrats at being 500. Do I have any tips to gain subscribers quickly? Okay, so some of the things I did was I watched a lot of YouTube videos about like how to gain subscribers and how to improve like the quality of your videos. I've watched a lot. So I've done like a lot of research and stuff. But that isn't to say that those are the things that helped me. Also looking in your YouTube analytics to see like where subscribers dip off in your videos, see where they stick around, see where they don't. You kind of just have to learn what parts of your video people are more interested in than others. And these are also tips that I've learned while watching those videos. Some places that I have subscribed to for, teaching me about YouTube is... pretty sure I'm subscribed to them on, oh no, they're my other account. Okay, so off the top of my head, there's vidIQ, there's Channel Makers, there's a lot of channels that are dedicated to helping YouTubers out, and that some of them even do channel reviews. So I haven't successfully got a channel review. I've wanted to, but when they have like hundreds of thousands of subscribers, it's kind of hard to be that one person that sticks out to them that they want to review, but you never know. But yeah, check those out. Keep an eye on your analytics and what people are actually interested in. You can feel free to ask your subscribers things that they're interested in seeing from you. I recommend keeping your intros short because I notice when my intros are too long, people drop off really quickly. And that's just how it goes. And see if you could also reach out for collabs too, because you be doing the person you're collabing with a favor, and they'll be doing you a favor, and you can meet a cool person in the process by doing that. Your collab partner can end up being someone super cool, so you'll end up getting a friend, and you'll have your name out there. So, you know, kind of dabble in a lot of things there. And as far as your videos go, you also have to find what people are interested in watching, because maybe you're interested in talking about something that you like but the people aren't. So you need to find something that you like to talk about and something that other people want to see, because at the end of the day, you're on YouTube. People want to watch what they want to watch, not really interested in what you want to watch per se. So you have to think, how are you going to entertain them, basically. So it's a lot of things to think about, and is its own topic entirely. So I hope any of that was even remotely useful. Just keep trying new things, and once you see one of your videos is doing a lot better than another video, like, latch on to that for a little bit. Like, I'm not saying to just exclusively do whatever that is, but you'll have more of an idea of what you could do by doing that. I am not a good teacher. I am not a good teacher at all, but I hope that was even remotely useful. Sniffy the Lovable Cookie asked, what's your favorite Miraculous? Okay, so this is a slightly different question from the one before. So if I have to say my favorite, I do like the Fox Miraculous, which in retrospect isn't like useful to like my life currently, but I just like the idea of making illusions. But so I think the Fox Miraculous is my favorite. Maybe. Or maybe I just like how Arena Rouge looks. I don't know. All the Miraculous are useful to some extent. But if we're not going with useful, which one is just my favorite, then I guess it would be the Fox Miraculous. Yeah. Let's go with that for now. I don't have a super definitive answer on that, but we'll go with that for now. Okay, next person is Forest of Fables. I have already addressed the first half of their question in a comment, so I'm just gonna skip on over to the next question they're asking. What do you think of the Disney live action remakes? I think that they ultimately should not exist, at least for the stuff that has been made from the 90s till now. Those things I don't think need a remake, except maybe Atlantis, which never really got a fair shot. So you can redo Atlantis, but everything from the 90s to now does not need a remake. Or maybe late 80s to now. But yeah, I think they're mostly pointless. Anything earlier than that, like, I know they did, what's that dragon movie? Not How to Train Your Dragon, it's a Disney movie. The one with the invisible dragon, Pete the Dragon, there you go. That one, I'm okay with them making a remake of, or even something like the Black Cauldron could probably use a remake. The like really old stuff, like the really old stuff that either had bad effects or were like limited at the time and couldn't do it as well, or just did bad at the box office in general, those can have remakes. I don't mind. So like, yeah, that's my opinion. Most of them are unnecessary and pointless, and I admittedly lost some respect for Disney because of all these remakes. Because Disney, I would look up to them for the longest time because they would do a lot of unique stuff, and now they're just like rehashing their own things, and that's annoying. Let's see. Are there any remakes you think were better than the cartoon? No. I don't think there are any that are better. Well, wait, hold on. Wait, okay, so I'm gonna amend part of my last statement. I think they're all pointless, but there are some quote-unquote remakes that I like, but I would still... Okay, so I like the Aladdin live action. I don't think it's better, than the cartoon Aladdin. I think it does some things better personally. Like, it makes Jasmine's palace life more realistic. The fact that she had no friends whatsoever in the cartoon, and that there were only the guards, the Sultan, and Jasmine in the whole entire palace, like there weren't other people there, was really unrealistic. So seeing that Jasmine had a friend in the new one makes a lot more sense. A lady in waiting, that makes sense. The fact that Jasmine's the one who ends up becoming Sultan makes sense, because why would Aladdin become the Sultan? He knows nothing about politics, which is not something I thought about before, but when the movie, presented me that idea, it makes a lot more sense. So those things I like, and Will Smith was also enjoyable, and I like the songs. So I like the live action Aladdin. I also like Maleficent, which is technically not fully a live action remake. It kind of is, but it isn't. It's both a Sleeping Beauty remake and not. And I'm a kind of person who doesn't quite understand why Maleficent, like the old Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty, was so popular. People are like, she's the most evil and she's like so scary and stuff, and like we just love how evil and stuff she is. But to me, she had no depth, so I never ever cared about Maleficent. But when I saw the Maleficent movie, I actually started to care, because they actually put some depth to Maleficent. And yes, they did the whole she was a victim the whole entire time thing, which I know a lot of people don't like, among other things. But I'm just glad she has development. So I like the Maleficent movie, also because I found Sleeping Beauty boring, but I wasn't bored by Maleficent. So I like Maleficent, and I like Aladdin. And that's about it. I haven't seen the live action Cinderella, but I'm sure it's fine. Like, compared to the other live actions, I think Cinderella is, at the same time though, there's like so many Cinderella movies that's not even from Disney either. I don't know. But I'm not offended by there being a live action Cinderella from Disney. Anyway, lastly, I know Disney has seemingly stopped adapting fairy tales as films, but if they were to pick it back up again, are there any specific fairy tales you would like to see them retell? I don't specifically have a fairy tale that I want them to tell, but I know there's like a lot of children's books in the library that I think would be nice for Disney to pick up, or even for them to just pick up a Grimm's fairy tale book and just pick a story that they haven't done before. So I don't have anything specifically for me. I just want them to do something new, introduce the world to a new fairy tale that hasn't been known to people. Like, do what Marvel did with Guardians of the Galaxy, bring something out of obscurity and make it something super cool. That's what I want to see Disney do, is just get a story that hasn't been adapted before and just adapt it. That's all I want. Anyway, thanks for the questions. Next question comes from Royal Wolf, or Royale Wolf. What is your favorite part about drawing? What was one of the first things you drew? I hope you had a good Christmas and a happy New Year. You too. I hope you had a great Christmas and that your New Year is bright. My favorite part about drawing is coloring and adding the effects. That is my favorite part about drawing. And also, once again, seeing the ending product. But as far as the process goes, my favorite part is adding the colors and adding the effects. One of the first things that I drew, since I was drawing since I was like 5 or before, I can't recall one of the first things I drew, because I'm sure there's like a lot of little things in there, but I do have books of some early drawings of me drawing the Powerpuff Girls, drawing Sailor Moon. I'm just drawing some random characters where I was attempting to draw an anime style. So those are my earliest memories I remember of drawing, and also drawing some, no wait, that was a little later in life. So drawing just some random girls in what I could do in anime style. I didn't quite understand how to replicate it, so it looked really weird, but that's what I drew. Just a bunch of girls and stuff. Yeah. And plus a bunch of little kid things too, like a house with a bright sun and things like that. So those are the kind of things that I drew. Next question comes from TJ Evie. I'm kind of curious if you've heard of / watched anything related to the game Genshin Impact. Have you gotten the idea to do any analysis for the character / story, given that the game draws inspiration from many cultural stories as well as have religious symbolisms? I am aware of Genshin Impact, but I have not played it. I have not watched playthroughs of it. I am largely uninterested. I mean, it looks cute from what I've seen, but I already don't have a tremendous amount of free time, so the free time that I do spend, I spend doing things that I know that I'm going to enjoy, rather than doing something that I might enjoy or might not. So maybe one day, but not at the present moment. Thanks for the question, though. Alright, now I can go to the next page of questions. These questions come from Momoisha. How old are you? I'm not trying to be creepy, I'm just curious, so you don't have to answer if you don't want to. I do not mind answering this question. I am 28 years old. There you go. Number 2, apple juice or orange juice? Apple juice, all the way, every time. Number 3, how do you make your videos? Well, okay, so things are going to change a little bit in the new year, but before I was using DemoCreator 5 from Wondershare. That was the video software I was using to make my videos. But my process usually goes, I write a script, after being inspired by something, because again, I need an idea. I write my script, I record using the screen recording and audio recording feature of DemoCreator 5, and then I edit everything after I'm done with the audio. And depending on what's happening in the background, if I'm drawing something, I will record myself drawing and then put that over my audio and add all the other stuff to it. If I'm using my avatar with some pictures of whatever thing I'm talking about, then I will, take the time to match up my avatar to whatever I'm saying and put in the appropriate pictures, and I add any annotations or effects that I need to. Then I go over it a few times, make sure everything's nice and hunky-dory. I also am subscribed to Upbeat, which is where I get my royalty-free music. So I search through that looking for things that I think would fit the best throughout my video, and I incorporate the music in the video where it's appropriate, and I just do the editing, and when it's done, I'm done. That's basically the process. So yeah. Number 4, do you have a job besides from YouTube? Yes, I do have a job. I don't actually like discussing what my job is to people, but I will say that I am a type of therapist. That is the most you're gonna get from me on that. My job is a type of therapist. Number 5, and lastly, do you have any pets? No, I don't, but I really, really want to. The house that we're renting right now doesn't allow pets, unfortunately, but I do want pets. I want a dog, I want a cat, I really want a cat. So eventually, I'm going to have those pets, Lord willing. And the next question comes from Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Cinnamon Toast. That's spelled correctly. Anyway, what is your favorite video that you've worked on? Also, what's your favorite anime? So my favorite video that I've worked on, I'd say it's between one or two things. It's either my Miraculously a Bug Ripped Off Shugo Kara video, or it is my Chloe video. It's one of them. So yeah. And what's your favorite anime? I mentioned this before, but once again, it is Fushigi Yugi, The Mysterious Play. That is my favorite anime. Next question comes from Galilee. What's your favorite color, and who's your favorite Miraculous Ladybug character? My favorite color is like a wintry blue. It's like blue mixed with grays, or mostly any wintry landscape, those kind of blues that I really like. That's my favorite color. My favorite Miraculous Ladybug character is Chloe. Next question comes from Gotcha Sky. Do you think you'll like the season 4 ending of Miraculous? That's a tough question because I already don't really like Miraculous. So I don't know. I will respect it if it does something that, like, it makes a big change that is, like, felt throughout the episodes that come after it. I don't want them to do something and then no one ever talk about it ever again, or I don't want it to do any more character assassinations on anybody. So I don't know. I do not know if I'm gonna like it or not. But then again, I don't have to be subject to it, so it is what it is. Olivia asked, what's your favorite anime? Again, it's Fushigi Yugi. Safia questions if you would like some more. Number 1, when did you start drawing? And I was very small. Number 2, what's your favorite anime? Fushigi Yugi. Number 3, what's your favorite book to read? I haven't read a full book in a while. I used to really, really like reading, like a lot. And for a while, I wanted my career to be an author of like novels. Like, okay, so that was my idea. But then in college, I was a creative writing minor, and as a result of what I had to do, I disliked novels and like writing and stuff for a while after that. So it kind of taught me that I don't really want to be a novelist, an author for novels anymore. So, it's better to learn that sooner than later. But before that, my favorite book series was a series called Maximum Ride, which was written by... Oh no, it's been so long. Oh no, I see this author in stores everywhere. What's his name? Oh no. I don't remember. Oh no, I feel so bad. Oh no. But the story was called Maximum Ride. That was the story that inspired me to want to become an author. So I don't know if I'd read it nowadays and think it's as good as I did back then, but that was the book that inspired my writing love. Both that and Animorphs. That and Animorphs really set off my wanting to be an author. So yeah. But nowadays I don't really read novels anymore. Partially because I don't have the time to, but also I don't feel like it. So yeah. Number 4, your writing skills are amazing. So can you tell us what inspired the writing spirit in you? So again, thank you so much for saying so. I'm really glad that you like my writing. It's really a lot. So yeah, Maximum Ride. Man, it bothers me I don't remember the author's name. Oh, I feel so bad. So Maximum Ride, Animorphs really inspired my writing. But those did not help me become a quote-unquote good writer. I know that's subjective, and I'm sure there's people out there who don't like my writing, but let's just hop onto the idea for a second that I'm a good writer, which I think I'm just amateur, but I appreciate that you guys like my writing. But anyway, I was able to improve with writing because of, one, that fan fiction that I've been writing for the past 15 or so years. The more you write and see your mistakes, the more you learn. But also, it also kind of started with My Little Pony, because when I started watching My Little Pony, and again, I had no one to talk to about it, I went online on YouTube to see what people were talking about My Little Pony. Then there was pony analysis videos for like each episode, and those talked about the writing and stuff in the episodes and stuff like that. And from there I jumped on to watching movie reviews, and that kind of just became a whole thing. And I still watch a lot of commentaries and reviews and stuff, and it's from those reviews of shows and movies and anime and stuff, it's from those reviews that I learned like what is okay and what's not okay in writing, and what's cringy, what's not cringy, and all that stuff. So honestly, I think that all the reviews and stuff that I've watched for the past many years, for the past like 9 or 10 years or so, have done a better job teaching me about writing than the creative writing courses that I took in college, which is, I don't know if that's sad or funny, or both. Not that I regret taking those classes, I think I just learned a lot more from all those videos that I've been watching. Those have taught me a lot about what makes a good story, and it's because of those things and, you know, me growing as a writer that I learned what was wrong with my own stuff, and I'm able to recognize like logical inconsistencies and stuff in other stories and all that stuff. So it's just stuff that built over time, things that I've learned and picked up across. And I try and incorporate that in my own writing, and it's hard for me to not look at stories and movies and stuff without using an analytical eye now, because it's just what I do. That's the kind of media that I take in a lot, so my brain is just kind of wired like that now. So that isn't to say that my writing is perfect or anything, because it's definitely not, because I know a couple people have noticed some plot holes that I've accidentally created in some of my rewrites, and I acknowledge sometimes those things do happen, but I try to like sit there in silence and like stare up at the ceiling or something and try to think of a way to like fill those holes. And yeah, so that's the long and short of it. Number 5, do you plan on making a comic in Webtoon or some comic app in the future? I do not plan on making a comic. Like, I don't mind making a children's book, and I don't mind as much writing in a novel form, but comics, I tried a few times to do comics, but I actually found out that I do not like drawing comics, because the panels have so similar pictures to each other, and things move on so slowly that way, and I am not a quick drawer. I still have a lot to learn when it comes to art and stuff, and anatomy is still a killer for me. I still need help, and I use like a software to help with my anatomy, where I have like an online mannequin that I can manipulate in order to help me with my anatomy. So that, plus me not being very fast, means that if I were to do a comic, it would take a very long time, and I do not have that kind of patience. So no, I don't plan on doing any webtoons unless I'm just the writer for it. No. But my 15-year-long fan fiction, yes. Children's book, yes. Maybe eventually a poetry book if I so feel inspired, but not a comic. Unless I get faster. If I get faster at drawing and better at it, then maybe. But I do appreciate your interest. The next question comes from Anna Fox Pro 2.0. Have you ever watched The Owl House or Amphibia? No, I have not. I know about them. I have seen some spoilers and stuff, and that's the extent that it's going to go. Number 2, can you give us more writing advice? I don't know if I can give general writing advice, because like I previously said, I am not a good teacher. But you know, as my rewrites and other writing stuff come along, there's some tidbits in there, I guess, where I am giving some writing advice, you could say. But I guess if there's any general writing advice, it is to, write something and have other people look at what you're writing. And it'd probably be best if the people who's looking at your writing aren't super close to you, because then they might be biased towards you and will probably be nicer to you than you need. Like, we need constructive criticism when it comes to writing or any kind of art, and I think that's super important, for sure. That's even something that they taught us in my creative writing minor with the classes that I took, that it's important to have other people look at what you're doing. So that's super important, but it's also important to see other people's techniques. So you do, in some way, shape, or form, need to look at how other people either analyze things or read other people's stories. So like for me, I did do like a lot of reading back in high school, but for me, like I said earlier, I watch a lot of analysis videos when it comes to the writings of movies and anime and stories like that. So taking that all of that in for the past decade or so has really helped me become a better writer. It helps me to look back at the things that I used to write and realize what I did wrong. So that is the general advice that I can give to you. And of course, never stop writing. Just, do those things, and pretty sure there's some other advice out there too, but I think it's a good place to get started. Next place is, do you play Cookie Run Kingdom? I do not. I don't even think I've ever heard of that before. If you do, then I hope it's a fun game. Sounds cute. Kind of makes me want a chocolate chip cookie right now. All right, another question from Momoisha. What's your favorite genre to write? I write as a hobby and I like writing fantasy the most. You know, I don't really think about that. I don't really think about genre so much, but thinking about my fan fiction in itself, like, I think I'd be comfortable writing in fantasy, romance, slice of life, adventure. I'll go along those along those lines is what I tend to write the most. Yeah. Let's see. Late Merry Christmas. Oh, this question comes from the Writer's Quill. Late Merry Christmas and an early Happy New Year, Aloe. Well, to you too. Late Merry Christmas, and I hope your new year is going well. Someone may have asked already, but what made you want to start your channel? Also, what got you into critiquing story and writing? Congrats on 1.5k subs. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. So I already answered earlier why I wanted to start my channel. It's for two reasons. To gain an audience and to, you know, have a community to talk to people about things. Also, what got me into critiquing story and writing? It kind of goes into what I talked about before. I learned all that stuff from watching analysis videos and me liking books and stuff in the past. And I rewrite things right now because I see when I'm really disappointed in how a story is going. Okay, I only rewrite and critique in like two circumstances. One is when I'm really disappointed in something and I really have a lot to say about it. I have to have like really strong emotions about it to actually, you know, openly critique something. And two is if I'm disappointed and I see the potential and I come up with a way to, I don't want to say fix it because that is condescending in a way. So I think of an alternate way of telling it, a way that I would personally prefer the story to go, and it is all subjective. So yeah, I critique and rewrite when I'm inspired to, when I'm disappointed in something and I see its potential. So that's basically it. Plus, it's fun to rewrite things. When I actually, you know, get the itch to do it, I find it fun. Hence me writing a fan fiction for the past 15 or so years. I clearly like to rewrite things. Anyway, the next question comes from Daniel Cross. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Do you think that Lila from Miraculous Ladybug is a wasted potential character? And do you think she was sidelined so Thomas could remind us that he hates her and is beyond redemption? I don't have much opinions about Lila. I know she's there, but she doesn't seem like she shows up enough for me to have that much of an opinion. I know that she's a liar and that she has caused problems for Marinette. And I do, okay, so I do technically have an opinion about her. Since both she and Chloe both exist, we don't need two mean girls who aren't even working together. But I would prefer to see Lila be the mean girl who stays a mean girl and gets her comeuppance for being a mean girl, whereas I want Chloe to be a mean girl who gets reformed. So I want two sides of the coin. I want both. I want to see what happens. I think that would be like really poetic to see what would happen if you go down the wrong route and what happens if you go down the right one. So I think Lila would be good to keep around if they actually did that. But I don't know. Thomas has just this, Astric has this thing against Chloe and it's just ridiculous. But I'm still hoping out for a redemption here, and hopefully this plan does work. But yeah, those are my opinions. Number 2, what other videos do you have in works currently? I do have some ideas for future videos. I don't want to say specifically what they are, although there's one I've been teasing for the past few months about magical girls and like which one's the worst magical girl reveal that I've seen. I am so determined to get that out because it's annoying me now that I have not gotten it out. So that will probably be one of my next videos, if not my next video. I have some other stuff. I don't want to reveal too much, but I have other stuff. I also wrote them down, so I'm also having a hard time bringing them up in my brain. That's why I write things down, but I do have other stuff planned from other fandoms too, like some more Disney stuff I want to talk about, some other cartoons stuff. We'll see what happens. Bible question: what passage do you like to reread the most? So the passages I say the most throughout my life are Psalms 23 and Psalm 118 in verse 89 or 19, Psalm 89. Yeah, those are ones I say the most, but my favorite Bible verse is actually 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7, which is, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Those are my favorite Bible verses. It has a lot of personal meaning for me, and I think if our world followed these verses, then there would be a lot more peace. So yeah. Next question: what made you want to be a YouTuber? I answered that before, so refer to previous answers on that. Number 5, what's your New Year's resolution? What do you want to do more of in regards to your YouTube channel? My New Year's resolution. Is my New Year's resolution regarding my YouTube channel, or was the YouTube channel question was only part of the second question? I don't know. New Year's resolutions in general, to me, I don't really like the idea of them, because my philosophy is, if you're going to change something about yourself or try to do something new, you don't need an excuse to start on the new year. You're going to do it now, or you're just not going to do it. So, I don't know, just not really a huge fan of New Year's resolutions, but I've been pushed a little bit on it by external forces, so I would like to get healthier in general. So that's something I want to do. As far as my YouTube channel goes, what do I want to do more of? I want to be able to, make more videos and, be able to grow to the point where I can fully be financially supported by YouTube and external stuff. Like, at some point I want to open up a Ko-fi or a Patreon. I want to get some affiliate links for my YouTube videos, as well as get some merch at some point. I don't know if people are actually interested in that, but I'm interested in, just like getting the experience of doing the whole merch thing. So I want, to be able to rely on my creative endeavors for income stream. So those aren't so much resolutions as things that I want. So that is what it is. All right, and now we're going to be on the last screen of questions. So let's see. Hi, Aloubell. I wanted to ask you if you play any games and what's your favorite. If you can't decide, tell us what games you like. So my favorite video games... Wait, video games or it's any games? My favorite board game is Monopoly. My favorite video game is between two things. It's between Story of Seasons, which used to be called Harvest Moon, but now there's this whole thing with the companies to where Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons are two different things, and it's a whole thing. But I like Story of Seasons. I like Minecraft. I just got into Minecraft last year, and I regret so much not playing it. Back when it first came out, my brother even... Sorry. Again, another phone in my house is ringing, so I got distracted. My brother even suggested playing with me back when Minecraft first started. And back then I was like, no, that looks like it's a game for babies. I don't want to play that. It looks boring. And so a bunch of years went by, and then I watched Jacksepticeye play Minecraft for the first time. And when I watched him play it, I was charmed. So I was inspired by watching him play it. So I got Minecraft. And I absolutely enjoy it. Minecraft is a lot of fun. So it's definitely between Minecraft and Story of Seasons. Let's see. I found your channel through Cyrus the Great and I've been loving your content. Thank you so much. Thank you for, being interested. I really appreciate that. I'm grateful to you and everyone else who's interested as well. Let's see. I know there's one more question here. There's one more question somewhere. Where is it? There it is. Hope I'm not too late. Sorry, this one's from Teen Quirky. Sorry, I forgot to say the last person's name. Nino Martins. Thank you again for the questions that you asked. But this last question, or questions, are from Teen Quirky. Hope I'm not too late, but I have a question for you for your Q&A. And this one was 12 hours ago, so you just came right in time. About Shugokara, which one is better overall, the manga or the anime? Also, where can I read/get the manga? So, this is entirely subjective. I only really consumed the anime. The only part of the manga that I saw was the ending, because the anime, once again, is one of those things where they made up an ending. So, it's entirely up to you. If you are okay with the plot being like stretched out and there being more filler in there, more time for you to hang out with the characters, if you like the characters enough to just like goof around with them and see them doing some like off plot stuff that's not exactly connected to the plot, then I recommend the anime, because it is fun. It's fun seeing the transformation sequences. It's fun, hearing them talk and seeing them, move around. I think the anime is a super cute style. I really love the opening and ending songs for Shugokara. They're like super catchy. So that's another reason to watch the anime. And yeah, so if you don't care about filler, like I don't, my rule with filler is as long as it's entertaining, I don't care. So, and I like filler if I like the characters enough to see the filler in it, and if the filler is interesting. And I think that all the filler in Shugokara is interesting, and I like all the characters in Shugokara, so I had a fun time. I think the anime, falls away from the plot during like either the last season or somewhere around there. It kind of just does its own thing. It gets kind of weird in the last season because there's like some live action stuff that's not Shugokara. It's just like some actresses or a girl group doing a thing. I forgot. It got weird. It got weird in the last season, but I still mostly enjoy myself, and the opening song for the last season is like awesome. So yeah, watch the anime if you don't care about all that stuff, but if you want the plot, just the plot and nothing but the plot, then read the manga. As for where you can get the manga, also the manga actually finishes the story and the anime doesn't. As for where you can get the manga, I am not sure, because again, I didn't really read the manga. I just like looked at the last few pages because I wanted to see how the story ended. But I don't know. You have to look around online to see where you can potentially get it. I'm sure it's accessible. It's been around for quite a while now, so I'm sure you'll be able to find it relatively easily. At least I hope you will be able to. And I think that is the end of all the questions so far. Let me quickly check to make sure. Also, yep, that's the end of the questions. And we just quickly go into my YouTube studio to make sure no one left any other questions. Nope. All right. That is the end of the Q&A, guys. I didn't think it would go on for over an hour, but that's how things go sometimes. So hopefully this video does well. My plan is to actually have shorter videos in the future because, again, through analytics and stuff, I'm realizing that people like shorter stuff, at least when it comes to the things that I talk about. So I'm going to see how that goes. So thank you for everyone who actually, sat here and listened to me ramble and, say a whole bunch of stuff. So hopefully I answered your questions sufficiently. And again, thank you so much for everyone who jumped on the Aloubell wagon. I appreciate you, and I hope that the ride keeps going and that you guys enjoy future content. But as for now, that's all there is. There isn't any more.